Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride in what we do drives us to be excellent. My name is Josh Cadillac, and once again, I'll be in the driver's seat for today's show as we learn how to stop just doing deals and start closing customers for life. We do this by talking to some of the best experts in their field, the folks that have been successful, to figure out how they've done what they've done, how they've built the business that they've built, where the success came from for them. And we have a great show for you today because we have a great guest, and Mr. Kelly Shaw, who wins the title for best mustache ever on the show. Kelly, thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, Joshua, it is my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to a great podcast today. So let's get this puppy on the road and let's go.
Let's kick this pig. So what is it you do, Kelly?
So I'm still a salesperson. I'm a salesperson at heart. I love sales. I tried to retire about 8-10 years ago. My clients won't let me because one of the things you said in your intro, clients for life. I've had clients 35 years now, going on 35 years. And it's amazing. Like once you take good care of them, they'll never leave.
Even if you do the job right.
Even if you want them to leave, it's like they're still clinging on. So, but I do training. I was hired over the last, 40 years. I've been in sales. So next year will be my 50th year. I've been in sales 49 years.
Jeez.
And it's hard to believe it's been that long. But it's like, what was I going to say? I forgot. I started thinking about the 49 and then forgot what the heck I was going to say.
No worries. I
got hired. Go ahead.
I was going to tell you, I could tell you very much. My father was very cynical New Yorker, whatever. But used to buy a new Cadillac every single year. And the guy at Ocean Cadillac that he went to was the same guy every stinking year for that car. And so he bought a new car from like 1949 all the way till 1975, a new one every year. So like in the late 50s, early 60s, it started all being down here with this guy Lippy down in, and that was his nickname, right? Lippy. My father stops buying cars in 1975, takes a hiatus, comes back again in 1990 to buy his first new car in 15 years. He gets Lippy out of they have to pull him out of retirement because my father won't buy a car.
He wouldn't deal with anybody else.
Nobody else but Lippy was the only guy that could take care of him.
Yep.
No, it's a thing. I mean, I've seen it my whole life, and that loyalty that gets built, that relationship that's created when you take care of somebody, you do the right thing. They're okay with you earning a living because you did a good job of taking care of them, and that there's a mutual respect there that's just not part of mainstream sales anymore. Establishing that respect.
Right. It's funny you said that they want you to make a living. They trust you, like you, maybe even love you so much. I remember when I was doing financial services, I started in 94. I applied for a job as a seminar speaker. The guy goes, "Oh no, I want you to be my salesman. I want you to sell annuities." I go, "Okay, yeah, I can do that." What's an annuity, dude?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I got like 15 minutes of training and boom, I'm on the road. But I've had clients that, we're sitting doing the paperwork and we're transferring all the money and they go, "Kelly, like, are you sure you're making enough money on us? Like, should we tip you or something?" First off, it's illegal. Thank you. You could buy me a nice birthday present or something.
Yeah.
But no, you can't tip me. And I'm making way more than enough money. Don't sweat the small stuff. I got you.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'm a big believer. Even if you got to take a little less, you make it up in volume with the people they send back to you. With their repeat business,
I'll give you an example. In the financial services world, a lot of agents hate what are called plate lickers. They do these dinner seminars.
Yep.
Get rid of that napkin. They do these dinner seminars and they're afraid that, hey, these people are just mooching off of me. Okay, so what? So I had a guy, this one guy, cool old dude, and he wore this jumpsuit that must have been white jumpsuit. Must have been from the 70s. It was so paper thin. It's like, dude, you got to start wearing some white, something underneath that thing because you're almost to the point where you can see through it, right?
Right.
I would use him in my seminars and say, "Hey, listen, John, like you've been here, probably your 9-10 seminar." He goes, yeah. I learn stuff every time. I go, "Have we ever called you, bugged you, try to get you in and take your money?" He goes, "No, never. But there was a reason for that. He didn't have any. But one of my biggest clients I ever got was from him. Yeah. He sent me a client that gave me over $1 million.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
and you know, so again, it gets back to, like, in my book, which I think we're going to talk about that later, greatest sale ever made, Amazon bestseller. Just kind of put that out there again.
Oh,
Amazon.
by all means. Absolutely.
I talk about making that greatest sale to yourself, but I was fortunate to learn sales under old school sales trainers, and people think that there's that new way of selling. There's no new way of selling. The things that people are saying are the new way of selling today is what I learned 50 years ago when I was forced to go to a sales school. And it was serve first, do the right thing for your client. If it's the right thing to do, help them get the product. And I learned that selling isn't something you do to somebody. This is really important to understand for people. It's not something you do to somebody. It's what you do for somebody. Because if you've got a product or service that can possibly change somebody's life or make their life better in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a new car, you owe it to them to close and get money, because they can't take advantage of that service, that product, that car until they give you money and they receive something in return.
Right. No, you owe it to them to give them the persuasive pitch for them to understand and appreciate the value of the thing. If they go away and don't buy because they didn't understand, because you didn't do the good enough job, you've deprived them of this product that is going to make this product or service that's going to make their life better. And that, frankly, is a failure on your part. Their life is worse because you didn't do your job well.
Exactly right. And I've got a story about that in my book. I think it's towards the end. I had a client come to me in 1999, maybe, and she had about $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million, something like that. At that time, it was AT&T stock. It was right when the divestiture was happening. So she had like all these different
little baby bells,
Ma Bell, stuff.
Yeah, Ma Bell and the baby bells.
Yeah, and then we talked, and she goes, well, you can never lose money on telephone stock, and up until that. Hold on. Somebody sent something to my printer. I think it's got an evil mind to it. Anyway, she came to me, and I gave it a really good opening night performance. What is this thing doing? Anyway, so she came to me with $1.2 million, and I did my job. And she's a little old lady. I didn't want to give too much pressure.
Right.
And so what happened is, she left and came back 5 years later. And 5 years later, she only had like $500,000 left. And I remember she came to me and she goes, Kelly, can you help me make my money back? I made some bad decisions. I went to the wrong people. I got bad advice. And I go, God, I can't help you make it back. What I can do is I can protect all your money, still give you a good income stream, but I can't help you make it back. Only an idiot will tell you they can. I doubt I can. I could try, but I can't promise anything. So she left again. I didn't do a great job. And she came back 5 years later wanting the name of an attorney because she was now broke and she needed to do a reverse mortgage on her house just so she could exist. And I think every time I'm in a closing situation, I'm the difference between them getting good advice. Now, again, this gets back to the number one most important thing. Greatest sale you can ever make is that sale to yourself. Man, you've got to, with blinders on, know that you are the right person, you're doing the right product, you've got the right service. If they go down the road, they're not going to get the service. They're not going to be taken care of, not only before the sale, but after the sale. And that's how you get customers for life. You serve first, you take care of them, you put them in the right product. Most importantly, you make sure they actually use the product perfectly to get the advantages out of it that's going to benefit them. And I think a lot of salespeople, all they think about is the money. And I got rid of that mindset many, many years ago. I don't think about the money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love making money. And when I'm doing my job, I've got, I can sell this and I can make this much money. And I've got it on my board. I learned that from Dan Sullivan. It's like my board is set up like the major leagues, right? I've got like 10 people I'm working on that I can turn into some pretty good commissions.
Yeah.
And then I've got a minor league, which is like, I got to work on it for, there's some potential there, but I got to do a little bit of work. And then there's the low minor league
farm system. I got you.
Yeah. So, but I serve first. I'm always wanting to give value, help, and if it's the right thing.
Absolutely.
And once you do that and you make a sale, it's not like you sold them something. You just made it easier for them to take advantage of a product or a service that is going to impact their life and maybe the lives of their family or other people. So,
And generationally, even potentially,
yeah,
even generations could have a different experience of life because of what you did. No, I mean, I think that, just summarizing it, doing the right thing by people is really what it's about. I mean, for me, I always, when they come in, I'm like, hey, look, you're looking to do something in real estate because that's my sale. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you'll need to look out for. If you hire somebody, make sure they do this, and this. Make sure they're
yeah,
not doing this. Bums do this kind of stuff. You never hire. And they start to talk about this, kick them out right now. You don't want anybody like that, right? And let me tell you what you want to be careful of, which way you want to go, all that sort of thing. That's if you're getting ready to do something in real estate. Here's the stuff you need to know. And usually
right.
they'll want to work with me after that because I'm at
Yeah,
least
I know
giving
a
them
lot
just
of
the good
people.
advice that anybody that's done this a lot is going to know.
Yeah, like I have a lot of friends that are like phenomenal salespeople, and one of the things they have in common almost
I
across the
think we just
board
froze, Kelly.
is that, yeah, both of us keep freezing. I keep seeing it. Let me go see if it's
Mm-hmm.
my router or let me go check something. Are you on the internet? Maybe because I'm having freezing issues in here, and we're having a really bad podcast as she came back. All right, we should be okay
Yeah,
now.
yeah, we're good.
All right. So yeah,
So
so
go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead. People that
I
that are typically seven-figure income earners, they give a lot of stuff away for free. And because they give
yep.
stuff away for free and they educate and they train and they provide value up front, when those people decide to do something, they almost inevitably, just like they do with you with real estate, they go back to that person because that's the only person who gave ultimate value.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't make a sales pitch. I gave them good advice. If they follow that advice, they're going to wind up ahead. And they know because I didn't push them. I didn't try to take and make them go do something with me. I said, here's what you should know. Here's what you should look for. And in a genuine place, it is truly good advice that I'm always trying to give people. I always try to take it like if I was in their position, what should I do? That's what I'm going to tell them to do. But I
Right.
want to kind of because we have a lot of people, salespeople that listen to this, a lot of folks that are in real estate and all. I want to ask you to maybe take the I don't know if you're going to call it the 100-foot view, the 10,000-foot view, but the look at Kelly Shaw from the outside and answer this kind of question like a good CEO would when looking at an employee. What do you think in your makeup makes you good at this thing?
Um, Grit and determination.
Hmm.
Did we freeze
Yeah.
again?
No, I could see that.
Yeah, grit.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Slightly, but I
So
think it's recording on both ends, so we should be okay.
yeah. So I think what number one, I gamify it. I like to have fun. I learned years ago to have fun with sales
Yep.
and make it easy, make it fun. I don't ever need to use pressure. And I gamify virtually everything, sometimes too much. But uh,
Mm.
I'm always in competition with myself, and I know that I'm always striving. I climbed Mount Rainier many years ago, and I remember sitting in the snow thinking I was never going to make it to the top. Woe is me! And there was a storm coming in. I literally thought I was probably going to die. And I remember sitting down in the snow, and I turned around and looked down the hill and went, "Oh crap! Look how far I've come." I was like way over 14,000 feet, and
Jeez.
and it was like, dude, you've come so far. Whether you make it to the top or not, you've just accomplished something more less than 1/10 of 1% of the population has ever done. And I
Hmm.
and I didn't quite make it to the top that day. The storm was too bad, and we had to turn around. But as salespeople, as business owners, as managers, sometimes we don't sit down turn around and look how far we've come. Because I got into sales in 1975, and I was a carpenter. I just came out of the Marine Corps. And I think one of the things that makes me successful is in the Marine Corps, you go through training that's kind of like what Tony Robbins talks about. You immerse yourself in some deep training, and then you got to practice, drill, and rehearse. Like you want to get really good in drill, let's say on the field, or I was a sharpshooter and a sniper. So you got to shoot thousands of rounds until it becomes relatively easy. It's kind of like racing a car. A high level Formula One race car driver doesn't look in front of him. He looks a mile down the road, see where he's going, right?
Yep.
And so I've always got a clear vision of where I'm at, where I want to go, and some of the success levels in between. And I reward myself. Like I'll give when I was in retail, I would buy clothes. I'm like, okay, if I hit this level by the 10th, I'm going to buy a new tie. I'm going to buy a new shirt. I'm going to take my girlfriend out to dinner. But I would always reward myself and give myself a pat on the back. Now, every salesperson, every business manager, every owner, and they're 6 inches apart. A pat on the back and a swift kick in the ass.
Yes, sir.
And one thing I learned, and I learned this from an old mentor, is like, dude, you got to know your product better than anybody. Anybody.
Yes.
And you got to know your competition's product better than your freaking competition.
Absolutely.
Never talk bad about it. Say, oh, you're going to go see so-and-so, or you're going to go see the Cadillac dealer. Yeah, you're going to love that car. It's got this, it's got this, it's got this, it's got this, and it's got this. And those are all real good. But you know what you might find interesting is that we have this and we have this as well as that. And I think when you compare apples and apples, you're going to find out this apple's a lot sweeter than that apple, right?
Yeah,
but absolutely. I never talk down. I always, I might look at somebody and say, hey, you've got a pretty good investment portfolio. I mean, it's pretty decent. People look at my face because my face is telling them it's okay, but it ain't that good. And then they'll say, well, do you think it could be better? And I go, well, look, you can always be better. I mean, are there some things I would definitely change? Absolutely. And if you were my client, like when you sat down with your financial advisor in October, November, so you could do some, tax planning, maybe some loss harvesting to reduce your taxes with your CPA. What did they tell you? I never sat down with my CPA and my financial advisor in October, November. And I go, really? Did you wait until January? And they go, well, yeah. I go, it's already too late. You can't make adjustments in January.
Can't unring that bell. Yeah. That bell's
wrong, baby. You can't go back in time and change anything. And I go, so what you're telling me is you're satisfied with your advisors, but they're not like super proactive and really trying to reduce your tax burden or protect your assets.
Yeah.
I mean, did I say anything negative? Nope. Did I sweep the legs out from that financial advisor? Almost every day.
Yeah.
And again, I did it with is there always a better way? Yeah, probably more than likely. I never have the best solution. I just have a better solution that might work better for the client at that exact moment. Mm-hmm. And that's all I ever really focus on is just, can I improve their situation? Can I make things better? What can my team do to take a lot of the onus work off of the client so they can just enjoy life?
Good stuff, man. So let me ask you this. In sales, there is a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of letdowns. There's a lot of unmet expectations at times. Sometimes you do everything right and things turn to a big steaming pile of donkey dung, and it's not really your fault. How do you manage yourself in those situations? How do you deal with that?
Well, that's a good question. One thing, I always have a positive attitude. Look, we all know. Oops, we go freezing again. I think we just have bad internet today or something.
Okay.
Maybe there's a storm or something. But yeah. Number one, as long as you're trying and you're doing the right things for all the right reasons, it's kind of like people say, when you get into sales, you don't really have predictable income. And I go, well, I do, because I can pretty much tell you if I do certain activities, I'm going to make X number of sales. I'm going to help X number of people. And from that, I'm going to make X number of dollars. So for me, my wife, it's very predictable. Like we know we're going to make X number of amount of six-figure income, no matter what happens. Now, there's
Right.
some stuff go absolutely batshit crazy sideways, like in real estate, right? We're both in real estate as well, but like everything could go right, and just something happens, and you just got to let it be like water off a duck's back, and you just say,
Yeah, that's it.
I learned this in the military. So when I was training salespeople, when you're in the military and you go on a mission, you come back, you do a debrief, right? And
Yep.
I always did a debrief. So I would come out of a sales situation, and if I was training a rep, I'd say, okay, tell me, what did you do right in there? What did you feel really good about what you did? And now I may think they did horrible, but as long as they thought they did good, I would say, yeah, I agree. Those were pretty good. You did this, you did that. I agree. It was pretty good. What do you think you could have done better? And then, I would hear that. And then I'd say, where do you think, what happened that you really didn't like what happened, or something went wrong? What was that? And then, how can we do it? How can we make that better? What can we do next time to alleviate that ever coming up? Right. And I remember I do a lot of keynote speeches, and I was did a keynote speech in Miami, Florida, a couple years ago, and then I was on a
Mhm.
panel afterwards, and me and this other guy, a friend of mine, Richard, huge producer, um, we're up there, and all these sales reps have these questions. Well, how do you overcome this objection? How do you overcome that objection? My buddy we'd look at each other and go, dude, like we don't get those objections. Like every product everybody sells, there's 3 to 5 objections that you're going to get 75 to 90% of the time. So you
Yeah.
learn to overcome those objections in your presentation. They never come up at the end. And
Right.
I
Absolutely.
yeah, and
I love that, Kelly, because one of the things that I'm sorry to kind of cut in, but it's something that I teach so much, and I've tried to break it down to 3 things that I think makes great businesses go. Anticipating, so I anticipate the objection, right? I I know this is coming. Empathy, if I was in their position, how would I feel? How would I need to feel about this? And then pre-negotiate. Bring it up before it ever is an issue. Deal with it so it never becomes an issue. You cut it off at the knees, kind of thing.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
no, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's a lot of
Did we
people.
just did we just freeze again?
Well, you're frozen this time, and looks like I'm frozen as well. When I'm frozen, can you hear me?
No, we're it's no, but the thing is, it's recording on both ends, so we should still be okay.
Okay. And look, if
Should
it doesn't
be.
turn out or something, we can always do another one, right? So that's. But I was just
That's
going to say,
totally true.
you are right. Like people don't anticipate, and what they don't do is they don't do a self assessment and know where they're at. Everybody has this like, yeah, I closed 60% of my deals, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
but there's always, oh yeah, but that one didn't count. Well, that one didn't count. Well, that's a different one. That doesn't really. It's like, come on, guys. Like really, I'm a damn good salesperson. I'm not a 60, 70% closer. Um, but what I do is every time something doesn't go right, I always go back and analyze what could I have done different? And it's what could I have done to alleviate that particular situation coming up again? And I learn from my mistakes. And unfortunately, I make a lot of them still. And I learn from my mistakes, but it comes down to doing a self assessment.
Yeah.
I started lifting a couple of years ago when I was probably about 60 years old, kind of late in life to really get after it and build muscle, but still got 71, still strong. But
Nice.
the only way to know if you're getting better is you got to keep pushing yourself. Like, okay, last week I did 45 nonstop push-ups, perfect angle,
Nice.
perfect thing, record yourself. If the next week you did 46, that's a big win. The
Yeah,
next week
man.
you did 47, that's another big win. If your body fat content is dropping, a quarter of a percent every 2 or 3 months, hey, that's a huge win. My goal for the last 10 years has been to get below 18% body fat. I just got to 17.8 the other day, and I was like,
congrats, brother.
Thank you. It's like, it's not easy, getting up in
No,
the morning, like having my coffee. I don't want to leave and go to the gym. I'm like, man, I
food is
want to hang out and drink
food is
coffee.
wonderful. I'm not going to lie. Food is wonderful.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of food.
But we're foodies, like big foodies. We have a house in Spain. In fact, we're leaving
Mm.
tomorrow. We're going to Europe for 6 weeks.
Safe
And
travels, brother. Enjoy.
oh, we will. Yeah, we spend 6 months. This is probably important for your people that are listening. When you're in sales and you're really freaking good, you get to dictate the lifestyle. You get to create the perfect lifestyle that fits you. Wine and food. Spain, Portugal, and Italy. It does not get any better than that. And
No.
we're going to be in Portugal this time next week, maybe. I don't know. We're going to be in Spain for a while. We're going to be in Italy, in Sardinia. So we're going to be eating killer food. And I became diabetic at 65, 66, type 1,
Oof.
just out of the blue. And I don't have issues with my blood sugar over there. It's like you can eat bread and food and your blood sugar doesn't spike. And every time my wife and I go away for like a month or more, we typically take 6 weeks at a time, 2 to 3 times a year. We come back weighing less than we left, and we eat twice as much, but the food's so much better. And the wine is great and cheap.
Mm. Well, there is that. That's always a good combination.
Yes. Yeah.
Good
But
and
yeah,
cheap.
sales, you can truly, truly, truly design your life. If you can imagine it, you can make it happen. I sold my house in 2018 before I met my wife, and I was getting ready to leave the country and go on a 2-year around the world kind of trip with a bunch of millennials, by the way. Just a fun thing to do. And
Yeah.
I learned that you can have an incredible lifestyle if you can figure out how to organize your life where you can actually travel and work at the same time. And the cool thing about Europe, when you're in Europe, the United States is sleeping. You're up all day, sightseeing, having fun, walking on the beach, hanging out. And you don't have to start working until like 5 o'clock at night. And then you can work till 10 because that's when everybody goes to
Yeah.
dinner. And then have a great life, but you can do that in sales.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's a great thing. Let me ask you this: what do you see as the opportunity in the market today? What gets you excited in the market today?
So, when you say market, what are you talking about?
The world. I'm
The
just talking
world.
about what gets you excited. I mean, what's the thing that you see that is it a product that you're selling? Is it a market that you should be in? Is it a different kind of sale? What's got you excited?
I would say maybe it's a different type of sale. There's a couple people out there. In fact, I'm a nationally known sales trainer, not like super nationally known, and I've been training for a long time and have incredible success. But there's some people out there that I know I can learn from. They haven't been in sales as long as me, but they have really good stuff. And I just signed up for one pretty expensive training course, but I love what he teaches. And, I teach the same thing, just a little bit different way. So I'm kind of digging deep into his. What really gets me excited, to be quite frank, Joshua, is AI. I published a couple of books. One of my books, this is a fun one. It's called Retirement: The Final Frontier. This was done in 2015. And it was a knockoff on Star Trek. So thank God it wasn't a huge bestseller because I would have probably got sued because all the characters in here are just a ripoff from Star Trek. But that book took me 6 months and 10 grand to create.
Uh-huh.
You can write a book today. You still got to put in a huge amount of work, but you can get it edited with Chat GPT in like 5 minutes.
Yep.
You don't have to spend $3,000 to send it to an editor who's going to like scribble all over and say, change it. It's like chat, clean this up, give it back to me, do it in this tone, do it this way, do it that way. I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. I don't want any misspelling, blah, 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 blah. And it spits it out. I think today, if you're older than 50, Chat GPT is probably the first technology that's ever come out that is in your favor because you have the life experience and the knowledge to take the assistance of AI. And I look at AI like you're in a mastermind group with 20 of the most genius people that have ever existed on Earth ever. And you have a problem, you give it to them, they can give you the answer in 2 seconds. And that technology can take good writers and make them great. It can take good marketers and make them great. It can help you design products, services. It can help you design. You can literally today do 10, 15-minute video segments without actually you doing the video. You can do a
Mm-hmm.
5-minute recording. It'll take that recording and make it 95% perfect. And all you got to do is come up with a script and it'll create the videos for you.
Yeah, no, I know.
I
Some
think
crazy stuff.
AI is an incredible thing, especially for people that have a passion for something they love. Maybe it's health, wellness, fitness. My wife is putting together a course for women over 45 who are going through a midlife crisis, which is what she went through a few years back. And with the help of all these new tools, you can do all that stuff and help change the world. You know, my thing when I was younger is one of my heroes was JFK. And it's because I was living in Germany when he actually did Ich bin einer Berliner speech. And I used to watch him on TV anytime he was on TV. He was such a great orator, right? And I look at the world, and there are people, whether it's Nelson Mandela or um, Martin Luther King, uh, JFK, these people can change the world. Like JFK, with his speech about going to the moon, changed technology in the United States forever, and
Mm-hmm.
and and did some things that changed the world because they were great speakers.
Mm-hmm.
But to be a great speaker, you're also a great salesperson because you can
Of
have a
course.
great speech not delivered properly is gonna frickin' bomb.
Yep.
But if you've got a good speech but delivered with passion, literally you can change the world. And with the technology today, if you've got a passion for something, there's a market out there for you. And I just think about my kids. I've got 4 kids and they're all adults now. And the things they can do and the things that are open for them to achieve in their lifetime, like even though I'm 71, I still have big dreams and ambitions. You know, we're kicking off some new programs later on this year, first part of next year. And I have plans to build those over the next 10 to 15 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I just get really excited about AI and people that are in the knowledge business or that are wanting to help people improve their lives. I just think that's phenomenal.
Good stuff. No, I think it's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity for those that use it well. What would you say? This is kind of just your first take on a little bit more lightning roundish, Kelly, if you would, just sort of what your first take on these things. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in the process of doing what you've done?
Um, PDR, practice, drill, and rehearse. Learn a script, follow a mentor. Success leaves crumbs, and so does failure. Unfortunately, too many people pick up the wrong crumbs. And
I got
so
that.
get a mentor, do what they do, don't change a damn thing, internalize it until you become them. It happened to me many years ago. I followed my mentor on the road for 2 weeks, week or 2 weeks. And one
Mhm.
day my wife says, I was practicing my recording and recording it. She goes, when did you stutter? I didn't know you stuttered. I go, I don't stutter. She goes, you just did. I go, no, I didn't. She goes, listen to the tape. Sure enough, I stuttered. And I realized that's the exact same spot my mentor stuttered, which
Yeah.
turned me into almost a 7-figure income earner every year.
Hmm.
Never made it to 7, but awful damn close.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I took his script, his personality, made it mine. Just
Yep.
like any great actor has to get into the script, right? Into their subject. And so I think PDR, practice, drill, and rehearse, huge part of my success.
All right. What would you say you're most proud of in business you've accomplished?
You know, the thing that I always lean back on, I got recruited to in 1992, I think, to take a Bayliner boat dealership that was going bankrupt. And I don't know a thing about boats. I think the pointy end goes forward. I'm pretty sure. Um, but I took that to number one in the world in 12 months.
Hmm.
And
Nice.
that was, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Like we did, I killed myself. I mean, I worked 18 hours a day, 6 days a week, but my staff didn't. My salesmen were making $100,000 selling boats, having fun, going out in the water, enjoying life with their clients. And that's one thing I knew is buying a boat is all about friends and family and having fun. And that's all we sold. We didn't sell any technical
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
That's awesome.
that was a really fun thing for me, especially to get an award from Bayliner for that was cool.
Awesome. Similar question, but a little bit more personal. What would you say you're most proud of in life you've accomplished?
Wow. Number one, getting into a coaching program that showed me that I could live a life that I dreamed of.
Hmm.
And I got to the point where I was working 3 days a week, 3 weeks a month. I walked my kids to school every day. I picked them up from school almost every day. I was able to spend every weekend. For 25 years, I volunteered at a ski and snowboard school in Southern California so I could be with my kids. So I was able to see my kids at all their special events, like every
Nice.
event. I didn't have to miss anything. And I think I have a really great relationship with my kids. I mean, my kids are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but our relationships are. And we've always had a good time. I was always there for them. And they appreciate that even to this day.
Sure.
I was
Absolutely. It
able to take
matters.
them. Yeah, and it's. I remember hearing a story, and I just heard this recently from Rick, Pastor Rick Warren. He told the story at some college he was doing a speech at. That nobody on their deathbed has ever said, "Hey, bring me the trophies. I want to hold my trophies one more time.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
bring
yeah.
me all those awards that I won for being the top salesperson." You know what everybody on their deathbed wishes? That they could be with their friends and their family one more time before they go, and that they
Yep.
wish they could have had a better relationship with their family. It's always I wish I could have been
Yep.
there. I wish I could have had a better relationship. I don't have to worry about that. When the good Lord comes to get me, I was there, and very, very proud of that. And it was good for them growing up, and it was great for me.
That's awesome. All right. What one book would you recommend?
Oh, besides mine,
Oh, of
um,
course.
I tell you what, I'll tell you one book that made a huge change in my life, and I can't tell you the exact copy of the book, but I read a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer in probably 1984, 85. It kind of had a
Hmm.
blue cover with his picture on it. That's all I can remember.
Hmm.
That book changed my life. That book made me realize that everything in my life is my fault, good, bad, or indifferent,
Yeah.
and that I've got to take responsibility for all the good things and the bad things in my life. And I learned not to look back and say, I wish. It's look,
Yeah.
I'm at where I'm at today. Like I almost got killed 2 weekends in a row in the same corner in San Francisco in 1988. And for the luck of God, somebody saw two cars running a red light, exactly 1 week apart, same spot. And one grabbed my belt and pulled me back, and the car actually hit my belt buckle. And another one, somebody grabbed me and said, "Stop," and the car went between two cars, almost took me out. But if one
Mm.
thing in my life would have been different, I might have been a half a second faster in both of those situations. I could be dead today, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have decided to go out on St. Patty's Day, even though I was feeling like hell, and it's like with a name like Kelly, you got to go out on St. Patty's Day.
Kind of the rules. Yep.
If I wouldn't have been like, I just want to go have one Guinness and get out of here, everybody's drunk. If I wouldn't have gone inside for some reason, because it was an outside party and inside, I wouldn't have saw my wife. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't be happily married today. You just never know, right? And so
Yep.
that book was so powerful to me because I realized like if everything good, bad, or indifferent, it's on me, man. And I
Mm-hmm.
take that into sales. I take that into life in general, and I don't have any regrets like at all. It's so it's
Freeing.
so lifted. This huge weight got lifted off my shoulders about
Yeah, yeah.
19.
I totally get that, man. I totally get that. I definitely I try to live in a guilt-free place where I'm just taking responsibility for my stuff and doing what I need to do to take and keep it right. That makes a huge amount of sense. Favorite movie of all time?
Oh man, that's going to be a real tough one for me because I just love movies. Um, I would say the movie I've seen the most, and I still enjoy it today, Alien. Did you hear that?
I didn't. The movie you enjoy,
Oh,
you see the most.
Alien. Yeah, I
Oh,
saw the
okay.
original Alien in a not surround sound, but in CinemaScope, and it was amazing. Sigourney Weaver, that movie was just so good, and I've seen it so many times. But there's so many great movies. I
That's
I
true.
really admire actors today because they are. I don't care what anybody says personally. I think actors today are the best actors the world has ever seen, and it's not just America. It's like Australia and some of the Swedish countries or the Scandinavian countries have such great actors. And naturally, they come over here to the States and they're in a lot of our TV shows. We don't even know they're not even from the US because they get so into character. They have the accents down so perfect. And
Yeah,
I just
that's it.
finished watching a series called Masters of the Air, um,
Mm.
which was about World War II. My dad was a B-17 guy, so he participated in a lot of those raids and lived through it. Thank God.
Yeah,
But yeah,
not a high life expectancy for those guys.
no, no.
Um, Famous person in history you'd want to meet?
Somebody asked me a question like that recently, and I said, maybe JFK because his oratory skills were so phenomenal and really inspired me as a young kid. I just loved listening to him. Um,
Mm.
but if I was going to sit down and have dinner with somebody and really kind of pick their brain, I think it would have to be somebody like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi because they were so spiritual. And I'd want to, I just want to spend the whole night talking to them, picking their brain.
Okay. Similar question, but a bit more personal. What person from your past, from your life, would you want to sit down with and have lunch with today if you could?
You know, wow. Um, Two people.
Okay.
One is somebody I've met and been friends with. We text each other occasionally, but I've never sat down and had dinner with him. Is Anthony Robbins and his wife Sage. Uh, I text him on his birthday, which is every 4 years, and I I've been able to sell him some stuff and develop a relationship. But I'd really like to sit down with him one on one and really, really pick his brain because to me he's a genius. Um,
Hmm.
and then I'd like to sit down with my old first manager who brought me into the car business, Tim Coleman,
Hmm.
and sit down and not just because I wanted to get something from him, but to let him know how much he changed my life as a manager
Mm.
and how successful I've been. And if it wasn't for his mentorship, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. So
Okay.
that would be,
Good stuff. One piece of advice you'd go back and give a younger version of you.
man. Find that one thing that you're passionate about. That if you could do it for free, you would if money wasn't
Wasn't an
involved
object.
at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
It wasn't an object, and give it everything you've got. Put
yeah.
the
Okay.
blinders on and quit looking for shiny objects because
Head down and just go.
yeah.
All right. Um, if you had a pick, if you're gonna be stuck in a foxhole taking fire, who would you pick to have in that foxhole with you? Who's got your back?
Man. Who's got my back? Um, I have a friend, very successful in sales and financial services, also a Christian, Matt Reddick. I would
Okay.
want him because between him and I and the good Lord, I think we could accomplish anything.
All
Either
right.
him or I've got a friend named Steve. I learned this from Dan Sullivan many years ago. Two types of people in the world: people that suck your energy and they rely on you to give them energy, and then there's people that when you're around them, your energy is synergistic and you give each other energy and you both
Yeah.
grow.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I'm with my friend Steve, I trained him in the financial services business for a short period of time, and we feel like we can change the world. He would be somebody else that if him and I were in a foxhole, we could come up with a plan. It'd be like Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know you mentioned to me before we started that you have a project that you're working on. I wanted to ask you what's next for you. I know you have a book that people can get, and we're going to have the link for it here. But
Yeah.
you also mentioned there's another one coming out. Just want to give you a quick, brief second to talk about that.
Yeah. So the book, Greatest Sale Ever Made, is available right now for all of your listeners. They hit the URL, they'll put their name and first name and email in there, and they'll be sending emails so they can download the book for free. They also, when the new book comes out, which is The Greatest Sale Ever Made 2.0, which is going to go into a lot more into a lot of other skills like body language, tonality, pacing, um, and actually some scripts and a workbook to develop your own script. They'll get that book for free as well when it comes out in December. So basically, they're getting two books for the free price of one.
All right. There you go. All right, Kelly, last question I have for you, my friend. Where can people find you?
Yeah, if number one, you can find me through the book, but also if you go to Kelly at kingdomsalesacademy.com, that's kingdomsalesacademy.com, you can reach me through the email there. Anybody wants to hit me up if they got questions about sales or their product and they just want a free 15-minute, sit down and chat. I'm cool with that. We can book it through Calendly. I got nothing else to sell, guys. So don't worry about a big sales pitch. We are working on a 1 day or a half day masterclass for about $10 somewhere down the road. Because when you do stuff for free, most people don't show up, even if it's great content. We
Absolutely.
got nothing else to sell. Probably next year we'll have a 9-course sales training video course. And that's probably about it. I think one of the things that I'm dreaming of putting together is a really cool mastermind where we can get away maybe 2 times a year to a resort and spend half the day working on our business, working on ourselves, and then half the day having fun with our friends and family. We'll probably come up with that first part to the middle of next year. And by the end of next year, we'll be doing our first retreat. So
Love it. Good stuff, Kelly. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and for sharing all your experience and knowledge with us. Really appreciate it, sir.
Hey, Joshua, it is my pleasure for being a guest on your podcast. I know that a lot of people that are listening to this, we all need help in the sales game. We get down on ourselves, we beat ourselves up, and what a better way to help people than to give them the tools that they need to get a little bit sharper, a little bit better, have a little bit more fun in what they do, and create the life and actually live the life of their dreams.
Create those customers for life. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right. Well, I want to thank our listeners as well. Thank you guys for spending your time with us. And as I say to you every time when I sign off, there is never a good excuse not to know your shit. Till next time, guys.